breakfast.
All day.
Breakfast?
Okay, I think I know what I want. Excuse me.
Hi, can I help you?
I'll have 3 eggs scrambled with toast. Wait a sec. Can I get a number 4?
That's a Western omelet. Hold it. I thought you hated omelets.
Give me a break. Look closer at the menu.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Instant Breakfast here at CHSR 97.9 FM in Fredericton, your only alternative radio station. I have my host, John Heinstein, with me today. Good morning. So we are on our Thursday with our underground New Brunswick music scene.
Yeah. So you like the electronica of Queen Cab so much, so I thought we would start out the show with a little something that we could dance to. Might as well clear the floor now.
Absolutely.
I know this tune is going to get you dancing. This is Shrimp Ring out of St. John, and they just released, just recently, a new tune called Space Elevator.
I love the picture. That is so awesome.
They have some wacky stuff. Like if you watch their YouTube video for their song Human Brain Freezer, it's an absolute riot. They're dressed up in these crazy costumes, and there's this sort of swirling psychedelic 70s kind of backdrop throughout the whole thing. It's totally insane. Yeah.
I love it. I'll definitely have to watch it. That sounds right up my alley.
They build themselves as a new wave space goth synth rock, and it kind of sounds like maybe like retro 80s synth
like
pop.
B-52s.
Yeah,
reincarnated, or
I think they exist somewhere in the far distant future.
Right.
Maybe even like a parallel universe.
Well, that goes right along with our day today.
They're like time astronauts or something. All of the songs are about space.
Very cool.
Yeah. So the shrimp in their name, that's actually an acronym. It stands for Space Hosted Rotating Inertial Manned Platform. And they say,
oh my God.
They say that's where the party will be after all Earth's civilization is destroyed.
Ooh, that is good to know.
Yeah.
That is good info.
It could be that we're delivering this show from that manned space platform.
Yep.
It kind of feels like it.
It kind of feels like it to me today. Very, very much so.
Yeah. Apparently they've got like a really great live show. They've got like costumes and lots of lights, and people just go wild for it. If their video is any testimony to their live show. I've never seen them live, but it's gonna be.
Man, that makes me sad that well, it's over now, and I'll see them next time. That's all. That's it. It's done, Tammie. It's over. Move on.
This is a couple of guys who are in Shrimp Ring. One is Dan Chamberlain, and the other guy is Philip Jaguar, and they've got a label called Party Sauce out of St. John. It's kind of like an electronica collective.
Cool.
They've got a blog and a DJ crew, and they also have this radio show that happens every Wednesday on the localfm.ca. So that's 107.3 FM in St. John.
Cool.
And it's all electronic music of the sort that they produce. So they have on their partysauce.lol website, they have podcasts of some of the radio shows, and they're pretty crazy. So I mean, the songs are all electronica, but rather than the hosts speaking, they use this text-to-speech synthesis for the voice. You'll see like in the tagline for their podcast, it says, hosted by orbiting artificial intelligence DJs from the year 2048, and then they'll use different voice. I don't know if you've ever seen like the text-to-speech synthesis that you can do like on various websites. So you basically enter some text and run it through this voice synthesis engine, and it comes out with a voice with male voices, female voices, various accents. So like some of their radio shows are hosted by Amélie, who's a French female voice, or Karen, who is an Australian female voice. And then there was like a British male voice and an Indian voice who collaborated on one show. It's a pretty funny podcast.
Oh my God, that sounds absolutely fantastic. I have to check that out. I love it.
Partysauce.lol. There you're going to find the Party Sauce kind of collective and links to all of these podcasts.
Very cool.
Yeah. So let's listen to this new single by Shrimp Ring, Space Elevator.
I love that.
Clear the floor. Time to start dancing.
I'm so happy I vacuumed. I hope you noticed.
You'll have to vacuum again afterwards.
Thanks for listening, guys. CHSR 97.9 Instant Breakfast. Here is Shrimp Ring, Space Elevator.
emergency above. I've gotta find a way to send you my love. Science has a plan to get off the ground. We'll take it to the top, and then I'm going down on the space elevator. A vertical wire space elevator. Journey to the stars. Space elevator. Taking you higher. Space elevator. Space elevator. Crisis in space, emergency above. I've gotta find a way to send you my love. I've gotta pull away from gravity's grip so I can hold you in my arms and kiss your lips. I've gotta pull away on a one-way trip so I can hold you in my arms and kiss your lips. Space elevator, a vertical wire. Space elevator, ride it to the top. Space elevator, taking you higher. Space elevator, space elevator. Geosynchronous. Space elevator, a vertical wire. Space elevator, journey to the stars. Space elevator, taking you higher. Space elevator, space elevator.
Hello. Sorry for that short minute of silence. We had to stop dancing.
Had to stop dancing, yeah.
And now we're all out of breath.
Those are some crazy, crazy moves, Tammie. So, had a thought while that song was playing. Let's bring up the partysauce.lol website, which is where the collective, the electronica collective for Shrimp Ring is, and where they also have downloads of their podcast. And let's play a couple of seconds of their latest podcast, which is Vieno, an artificial intelligence robot from the year 2048. So it's hosted by this text-to-speech synthesis voice. And Tammie, why don't you just play a few seconds of that just so we can hear what it's like.
Here it is.
Hello, you are listening to Party Sauce on 107.3 FM in St. John, New Brunswick.
There's a face looking up from the electric sea, and a ship waiting there for you and me. We're sending a message to outer space to prevent destruction of the human race. Where did we come from? Where will we go? If from the stars we are, there's only one way to know. Let's go. Let's go to...
Fantastic.
Isn't that great?
That is absolutely fabulous.
So we're going to continue with this theme because we're having so much fun. So Shrimp Ring, as I mentioned, is a co-creation of Dan Chamberlain and Philip Jaguar. We're going to move on to Philip Jaguar's solo project, Jaguar Night. And he's got an album out called Unknown Futures. I actually know who Philip Jaguar is. His real name is Philip Clark. I went to university with this guy.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't realize until I started.
Thinks he can fool you.
Thinks he can fool me. He was a guitar
Guess
player
again.
with a band called Nebraska Girl at that point, but I knew that he had sort of moved into electronica and he's had this solo project for many, many years. I saw him probably 7 or 8 years ago doing a show with your boss Eric, who also does soundscapes, electronica music and stuff. So it was a really interesting, thought-provoking show.
Nice.
Yes. Philip is Jaguar Night. Philip Jaguar, Philip Clark, is based out of Gaspereau Forks, New Brunswick, which is out in the Chittenden region outside of Fredericton. And he's like a one-man electronica show. He's got all kinds of old vintage gear, like old drum machines from the 80s and analog synths, with no keys on them, just a bunch of inputs and outputs, and you connect the inputs and outputs with cables and maybe some knobs and sliders to generate your sound. So.
Wow.
Yeah. He's got some really snazzy psychedelic t-shirts for sale on his Facebook page if anyone is interested. They're really, really great t-shirts.
Yeah, I am sure. And this is something that was actually just released back in January.
Yeah, it's a recent release.
So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it looks like maybe a 4-song EP?
Yep.
Okay. And what are we going to hear, John?
We're going to hear a tune called I Call Shotgun from Jaguar Night off his most recent release, Unknown Futures.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. I Call Shotgun.
Highway 10, 20 below. We're running late for the show. Try to survive, try to arrive. If we put the hammer down, we can make it on time. Shotgun, I can't stop. Shotgun, I can't stop. I need a shower, need something to eat. Stare out the window, slumped in the seat. It seems like time is moving so fast. We chase the future right into the past. I know a place where we can spend the night. I'll call ahead and make sure it's alright. An urgent message coming from home. It doesn't matter, man, you should put down the phone. Shotgun, I can't stop. Shotgun, I can't stop. Check the oil, check the tires, check the drums, check the wires, check the heat, check the radiator, check the engine light is on, check the fuel, it's almost gone. Better check it for an exit, cause we're running on fumes.
Oh, that was an awesome track.
That was funny.
Oh my God, that is awesome. Hilarious. Great lyrics there. Great lyrics. And great musicianship.
Yeah, he's a really creative guy, Philip. Yeah, we're actually going to conclude our trio of electronica tunes with another song from another band that Philip Clark is in. It's called Die Pack. It's based out of St. John, New Brunswick, done in 2014 with someone named Vanessa. Couldn't find her last name anywhere, but Philip is doing the drums with a drum machine, an old Roland TR-606 drum machine that was produced back in the early 80s. And Vanessa's doing the vocals, and she's also playing Volca keys, which is a little miniature synth that Korg produced. It's like maybe 12 keys long.
Oh, wow.
Just a tiny little unit.
Oh, that is really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one of
and
those.
This is just a tiny little song. It's like
a tiny
minute
little
long.
song on a tiny little instrument.
It's called, so they have one of their albums is called Wake Up, Time to Dance, and this is a tune called Fantasy 2000. The name Die Pack, by the way, pretty cool name. What that is, it's this radio-controlled device, like an incendiary device that banks use to like spray dye over money that has been stolen. So they'll plant this little pack of money with this incendiary device embedded in it, in amongst all the other money, and if the money is stolen, then they'll detonate this and it will spray it with a dye that marks that money as having been stolen.
Wow, how did you come across that information?
Wikipedia, of course. Yeah. That sounded like a name that had a meaning behind it.
Yes, it absolutely does.
There's a meaning behind Jaguar Knight, too. Would you like to know what that meaning is?
Yes, of course I would.
So a Jaguar Knight is a member of an Aztec military elite unit. They believed that the Jaguar would give them strength during battle, but there was a condition to becoming a Jaguar warrior. It wasn't just like great military strength. What you had to do was capture 12 enemies in 2 consecutive battles, but just capture them. If you killed them, it was considered clumsy, but if you captured them, it was considered a sign of military expertise. And
wow, that's really interesting. Who would have ever known that? That's why it's Knight. That's why it's Knight with a K.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. It's always interesting on Thursday mornings because I have my co-host here, John Heinstein, and he really does his research.
Power of the internet.
He is, yes, quite on top of things. So thanks for being
Otherwise,
here, John.
I would be filling your head with urban myths and the like, speculations.
John, I bet you didn't know this, but I am an urban myth.
Yes, you are.
I am an urban myth, I promise.
Yeah, everybody thinks you exist, but it's concocted by some drunk person.
Exactly. One night out at the Capitol.
Yeah. It only takes one person to believe
That's
the urban
right.
myth initially, and then the next, then the next, and
Absolutely.
suddenly everyone thinks they know.
Hey, I really like that. All right. So we're going to hear Fantasy 2000? Is that the name of this track?
Yes, it's called Fantasy 2000 off the album Wake Up, Time to Dance by Die Pack.
Let's hear it. Can't wait. Well, as John said, that's the end of our electronic portion of the show.
Our Fantasy 2018.
Yes. With your urban myth here. I hope you guys all enjoyed that too. Looking forward to what's coming up next year.
We're going to turn to a more traditional folksy sound with the amazing Devarrow, who is based out of Halifax now, but from Moncton originally. And he's got this just amazing album called The Great Escape that came out in 2015. Devarrow's actual name is Graham Arrow.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and my speculation is that Devarrow, which is spelled Devarrow, is actually a different spelling of Devarrow, the French name, which is probably the derivation of arrow. So arrow probably comes from Devarrow, and Devarrow comes from Devarrow.
That makes
That's my
sense.
speculation. It could be an urban myth.
It could be, but I doubt it.
It's a great urban myth if it is.
If it is, it is. It's worth knowing. That is really makes sense to me. I like when things make sense.
So it's like a really laid-back folk rock, a little bit, maybe psychedelic, and a very sort of stripped-down style. He wrote these tunes when he was living in Vancouver in a run-down apartment. After the album was produced, he toured Canada extensively for a couple of years from 2015-2017. He did a European tour in 2017, and he's still doing regular shows. So if you want to see him, he's playing June 16th in Sussex at the Arts and Culture Centre, which is a beautiful venue. It'd be a great show to see.
Yeah, and I highly recommend it. I did see him live at Grimross, and he was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. He's also doing a house show on June 17th. So
a house show
in Moncton.
In Moncton, okay.
In Moncton, yeah.
Okay, good to know.
He was nominated in 2017 for an ECMA Rising Star of the Year award. Apparently he's working on a new album. It's fantastic. It's been almost 3 years, so he's due for a new album. Every song in this album is great.
I agree, 100%.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to listen to, I think, one of my favorite ones. This is Devarrow, The Great Escape, with the song Modern Arc.
I love this song too. Glad you chose this one.
Sold my house to a logger for a steamboat made of northern wood. So ride the canyon rapids down to Dawson, like the natives of that river surely would in the times of old. When I got myself down to Dawson, I'd only stop to get some gold. And like the ones that came over White Pass, I'd ride the river down like I should, down to the sea. And I'll just go, let the river take my boat. And I'll just flow, and that you know. La, da, da, da. Sold my house to a logger for a steamboat made of northern wood. And like the ones that came over White Pass, I'd ride the river down like I should, down to the sea.
That is one of those songs that's way too short.
It's so good.
Yes. Oh man, that should be twice as long at least, if not 3 times.
Yeah, it's an album that bears repeated listening, because
Absolutely.
that's representative of every song on the album.
It is.
It's not necessarily the highlight of the album. It's just one of every great tune.
I completely agree with you. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like in a little bit of a daze right now after that song. Just kind of like, woo. That was just so
and all the
beautiful.
dancing beforehand.
And then the dancing, pardon me.
Yeah, a little lightheaded. Yeah.
Wow, I am. I'm not kidding. I am lightheaded. What do we hear next, John?
Well, we're going to go to Bertrand, New Brunswick. Chloe Breault, who put out an album called Love in 2017. Bertrand is near Caracat. It's right at the mouth of the Caracat River in Caracat Bay, so up northern New Brunswick, along the coast. So she does sort of Acadian folk rock. Pascal Lejeune is intimately involved with this album, so he's not only involved in like the arrangements and the production, but he's also plays guitar on it, and piano, and percussion, and bass. There are a number of well-known New Brunswick musicians playing on this. There's also Kevin McIntyre playing the synthesizer, Isabelle Theriot on piano and accordion. I think you're really going to enjoy this tune. One thing of note, and we're going to listen to this song afterwards, is that she does a duo with Cedric Vieno, who I love. I think he's one of the better songwriters in New Brunswick, possibly Canada. And so she does a duo with Cedric on his album Maquiller l'année, which is makeup of the donkey, kind of like lipstick on a pig.
Right,
yeah,
gotcha.
French equivalent.
Okay.
Yeah. So
This
we're
is
going
a
to listen.
beautiful album cover too, I must say. I love it. It's very pretty.
She's got a really strong, beautiful voice, and really good songwriter. And the arrangements on this album are very kind of stripped back and sparse, and it really emphasizes her singing and the lyrics. The album is called Love, and the song is called À cause de moi, which means because of me.
Okay. All right, let's hear it.
Place tes mains devant tes yeux. Je veux pas voir que t'as de la peine. Tu verras, ça ira mieux. Donne-toi juste une semaine. Mais à cause de moi, à cause de moi, le temps n'avance plus. À cause de moi, à cause de moi, tout est perdu. Ôte tes mains devant tes yeux. Fais donc face à tes peurs. Tu devrais éteindre le feu. Je serai jamais ta chaleur. Mais à cause de moi, à cause de moi, tu n'y crois plus. À cause de moi, à cause de moi, tout est perdu. Laisse les photos brûler. Laisse tes larmes sécher. Laisse le temps s'écouler. tes yeux. Je vois quand même t'as de la peine. Je te promets, ça ira mieux. Donne-toi juste une semaine.
That was gorgeous. The more I hear the Acadian French, the more I really, really appreciate it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a gorgeous language.
It's great, yeah.
It is beautiful.
And it's very distinct from French from other regions.
It's very distinct.
See the infusion of English words into it, and yeah, it has a character of its own. It has a character. I had a discussion with a friend of mine the other day about this, is that Acadian, New Brunswick, French music has a coherence that English New Brunswick music doesn't necessarily. It's coming from a certain history that is distinct from the rest of Canada and a geography. And
it is. I think it's completely fascinating, and I love it, and I want to get to know it a lot more.
Yeah.
That was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
What a rich, layered voice.
And if you grow up in English Canada, you don't necessarily get as exposed to all this music. It's only really been in putting together this radio show that I've been introduced to, like, this vast, deep well of amazing Acadian artists in New Brunswick.
That's really good to hear, because I always feel like, my God, how could I have not known about this? How lame is that I didn't see this out there or hear this?
And I grew up in northern New Brunswick, like a very French part of New Brunswick, and never heard any of this music.
Wow. Okay, I'm really curious about Cedric Vieno.
Cedric Vieno, yeah.
He's cutting his ear off, I see.
He's cutting his long hair. And
is that what he's cutting?
I'm not sure what he's cutting.
I thought it was like a Van Gogh thing.
It could very well be. He's a very... It's very literary Acadian folk that he produces. So, like, the words are at the forefront and very, very poetic. And yeah, he's an amazing act to see. And
so you have seen him?
Yeah, I've seen him a couple of times. Yeah.
Where did you see him?
Once in Fredericton. He was part of a singer-songwriter tour of New Brunswick musicians that Peter Hicks from Sleepy Driver was, and Juanita Bork, who also sings with Sleepy Driver, and a few other
you've
musicians.
Talked about that one before. That sounded so amazing.
I think they toured 5 different cities across the province, and a different person hosted each night.
Oh, so, wow!
I was really blown away by his songs.
So was he hosting the night that you saw this show? Or?
No, he wasn't. But it was kind of a songwriter circle, so they had an opportunity to talk about their music. And yeah, he really has a way of drawing you into the songs when he's speaking about them, and then he draws you in even further when he plays them.
Tell us about this song that we're going to hear.
Yeah, well, it's from an album that he calls Maquiller l'année, which is makeup on the donkey. So it would be the French equivalent of lipstick on a pig. The idea of making cosmetic changes to something that requires much deeper changes. And it's a song called Escalier, which means staircase. The album came out.
I thought that had something to do with stairs. Okay.
Yeah, the album came out in 2014, and he's won a couple of SOCAN awards, Song and Album of the Year at Music New Brunswick. I think we were also nominated for album Sleepy Driver, but he, and rightfully so, won it over us.
Wow, which album was that you?
I can't really remember. No, it might have been In Low Dark Night.
Okay. Which I still have steady now in my CD player in the car. It's been going strong for a couple months, but as I told you before, it's really getting worn down. Yeah. Hint, hint.
I'll bring you a new one. Ignatius was the album. Yeah.
Ignatius, my favorite. Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway.
So I thought we'd play this because Chloe Breault, who we just listened to, does a duet with him on this, and it's really lovely duet. It's not your typical song. It's really, really sparse. There's just a little bit of electric guitar that's played almost more like an acoustic guitar, some really minimal percussion, and a bit of banjo. So he's also a banjo player. The banjo's kind of slightly out of tune, like purposefully so, and it's the whole album, but this song in particular is really rough around the edges, and I think it's a reflection of the title of the album, the idea of lipstick on a pig or makeup on the donkey. And so I think he's purposely left things a little bit rough to reflect that kind of reality of the the donkey and the roughness of it, and the idea that you can't just, put a little makeup on it and transform it into something beautiful.
All right.
Yeah, it's
I'm
got a
dying
really
to hear
authentic
this
feel
song.
anyway.
I'm dying to hear
So,
this song.
yeah, it's Maquiller is the album, and Escalier, Staircase, is the song.
Here it is, L'Escalier.
J'étais commis et elle client. Et je crois que c'est là que c'est mal parti. Le cœur flatté dans le sens du poil, et puis ses hanches ont fait le reste. Je l'ai pris fort, mais pas tout le temps. J'ai pris sa peau pour une promesse. On ne choisit pas l'escalier dans lequel on tombe. On ne choisit pas l'escalier dans lequel on tombe.
J'étais cliente et lui commis. J'savais même pas que c'était parti. Une acrobate dans les conserves, j'aurais voulu jamais dire oui. J'détestais pas son côté mièvre, moi j'prends, je jette, j'avoue, j'ai pris. On choisit pas l'escalier dans lequel on tombe. On choisit pas l'escalier dans lequel on tombe.
Quand je l'ai su que t'en voyais d'autres, ton corps glissant comme une anguille, serré plus fort pour te retenir, serrer les poings pour en finir.
J'étais pas contre peu de piment, ni même quelques menaces en l'air. Regarde-moi dans les bleus.
Regarde-moi dans les yeux, j'ai voulu te retenir,
Mais leur rang possédé.
on choisit pas l'escalier dans lequel on tombe. On choisit pas l'escalier dans lequel on tombe. On choisit pas l'escalier dans lequel on tombe. On choisit pas l'escalier dans lequel on tombe.
That is my pick of the day. I love that, and it has that spaghetti western sound
It
that
does,
I'm
yeah.
so very fond of, like White Horse and Civil Wars. Like, oh, that what a
Yeah.
duo! What a duo! I'm stoked to do another duo show soon.
Yeah. Like
Thank you.
Devarrow's album, every song on Cedric Vieno's album is brilliant.
Yeah, if that's any indication, that was amazing.
L'Escalier.
And what do we have next?
So we have someone else who played on Chloe Breaux's album, Love. This is a guy named Kevin McIntyre, who's based out of Moncton now. He's from Charlotte originally, which is right next door to my hometown, Dalhousie, so up in the northern coast of New Brunswick. He's essentially rock music, but there are a lot of elements of kind of progressive music in it. You know, the arrangements are complex, but not so much that it gets in the way of the song, right? So one thing I find with progressive rock music is sometimes it sacrifices the lyrics, sacrifices the melody. It's all about the musicianship.
Yep.
With Kevin McIntyre's albums, there are hints of that complexity, right? The arrangements have a lot to them, but the song is always at the forefront, and they're really good songs. So I saw him play at the 2012 Music New Brunswick Awards. His first album, Dragon Mécanique, Mechanical Dragon, was nominated for a whole slew of awards then, and he won 3, like the
Nice.
Francophone album, male recording, SOCAN Song of the Year. This is from his next album, which is L'Axe de Viseur. L'Axe de Viseur means axis of the viewfinder, and Pince-moi means pinch me.
Okay. Okay, that guitar lick there is going to be in my head all day. I'm pretty
It's pretty catchy, isn't it?
It's pretty catchy. I really liked it.
His previous album, Dragon Mécanique, is a really good album too, and it's very very similar to that song that we just listened to.
Really great.
Very singable song and a
Really
catchy
great.
riff, and
Really great.
But he puts a lot of thought into how he presents his music.
So we probably should say our goodbyes now.
Mm-hmm.
Because this next song is about 4 minutes. That's about all we have time for. I do want to thank everybody for listening in. And there's a great event going on tonight at the Charlotte Street Arts Center which is featuring some new footage from the Capitol Project, and that starts at 7 o'clock, I believe. It's $10 at the door. I really hope that you guys can come out and support that. I really thank you for listening to CHSR 97.9 Instant Breakfast on this Thursday, and I thank my co-host John so much again for all his work and effort. We're going to hear
a brand new album out of St. John from a band called Womb to Tomb, and the album is called Meat and Bones. It's kind of like a really dreamy alt folk, and it's spearheaded by twins, Jasmine and Jillian Wong. They're vocalists. Great harmonies, as I suppose only twin sisters could produce, growing up together and singing all the time. And then a couple of musicians that you might have heard their names, Ian Sherwood on bass.
Oh my gosh, he's so great.
Yeah.
I love him. I have seen him live. He is fantastic.
There's Jack Leonard on the guitar, and you're going to love this, Miranda Helen on cello.
Oh, nice. Nice. There's nothing like a good cello sound.
Brand new album. I think it might have been just released last week. Meat and Bone, band Womb to Tomb, and a song called Small Towns.
Industry. Soon will I wander, find new ground to pound my feet on, free to wander, no place to go, no one to see. I might sleep under nothing but the open sky, and then someday company.